Hello, welcome to BSR TV for the iRacing Skip Barber Series Round 12 from Circuit of the Americas. This is the last race in what's been an exciting season. Me, Chris Cohen, here, joined in a moment by Matt Dalton as well. On the full Grand Prix version of the circuit, the full international version, no shortcuts, no corners missed, 2.5 minute lap times to come in this it's roughly 30-minute race. But first, about 20 minutes of qualifying is to come. Let's head down to the track. The championship already decided, of course. Marcus Hamilton has won the championship. Doesn't matter what happens in this race, he'll be racing anyway. We've got a little bit of a reduced grid from what we're used to for the rest of the season, but that said, it's still a lot of cars out there. 24 heading out there to qualify, including a few new faces as well. So Murray Coots is out there, first time that we've seen him in the league, I believe, so I hope he does alright tonight, has a good race, and a couple of others as well. We might come to those once they're out on the track. Good to see Paul Lee back in the session as well. Welcome back, Paul. And familiar faces, of course. Marcus Hamilton is there drafting with his Friction Racing teammate to try and get the best possible lap time around here. Some very long straights down Circuit of the Americas, of course, so it's going to be a bit of a draft fest in certain places. Just about every kind of corner Circuit of the Americas has to offer. You've got the twisty section, you've got lots of tight hairpins, lots of long straights, a triple apex right-hander, you name it. This track's got it, so these drivers are going to be challenged this evening. The Skip Barber Team Championship is one of the ones that hasn't been decided just yet. So if we go over and I can't bring up the scores on the screen for some reason, but we'll just have a quick look and have a look at the top of the table there. 396 points for Friction Racing, 362 for Racing Game Show. Everybody else pretty much out of the running, so Racing Game Show could take it with a good result tonight and a lousy result for Friction Racing, but in actual fact it's likely to go Friction Racing's way. These are the guys who will be looking to stop that from happening. Wojtek Rapstin, Racing Game Show, and then somewhere out on the track as well, if we can find him. Oh, just next to him as well, look at that drafting as well. Wojtek Savidovic, the two Wojteks, and Savidovic of course having that great first season in the in the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship, to give it its proper name, which is now wrapped up, and he didn't win it, but he came pretty close up at the top there in his first season in the touring cars. New discipline, a new format, and a tremendous effort there. Marcus Hamilton will be joining, that's our information at least, he will be joining the touring cars next season. Whether he's going to carry on with a Skip Barber as well, not entirely sure, but we'll have to see. But our information is that he will be signing up for one of those touring car teams next season in the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship. And if bit of a little bit of a roadblock going on there on the qualifying session, but if you haven't seen it yet, do check it out. It's our other main feature on BSR TV on the YouTube channel, and you can watch pretty much the entire season. I think we lost a couple of races to iRacing issues, but otherwise the entire season is on there, and some cracking racing in there. In particular, the Bathurst rounds 28, 9 and 30 were fantastic this season, but it's all there. So I'm not even sure how long that would take you to watch if you watched it all back to back. It's about 30 minutes a race, 3 races, hour and a half times 11, so probably the best part of 16 hours of watching. So next time you're ill and you're sick in bed with flu and you've got nothing to do, turn on YouTube on your laptop or whatever you've got. You can watch an entire season of touring car racing. As always, your comments, questions, that kind of thing, welcome in the YouTube comments if you're watching live. Otherwise, just leave them behind and we'll pick them up next season or as soon as we can.
Unless it's a moan.
Unless it's a moan.
Yeah. In which case, don't.
Yeah, we'll probably delete it or ignore it.
Send it to empty box.
I am joined by Matt Dalton for the last race of the season. Circuit of the Americas, Matt, not one of your favourite circuits for this particular type of racing.
Not one of my favourite circuits for racing, I think is probably the better way of putting it, mate.
So tell the viewers what's wrong with Circuit of the Americas.
Too twisty, too narrow, too slippery, and too Tilke.
What's Tilke?
The German architect. I'm not even sure this is actually one of his, actually, is it?
You got me. You got me. So, we'll have to see how these guys get on. It is a reduced grid this week. 24 cars down from about, well, we've had up to 45, I think, at some point this season. So it's going to be a little bit less congestion, but as well, congested. So it will give other drivers who don't normally get a chance to go in the top 10 a bigger opportunity, won't it?
Yeah, that's true. And 24 cars is still quite a lot. I think just one of these things with this track. It's not a bad track. As Formula 1 circuits go, it's quite good. And I think when you're in the super fast cars like the F1 or the HPD or the IndyCar, it's quite a good track. But in the slower cars, the fact that it's so wide with so much runoff just means it's just a little bit boring.
And do you think that runoff affords people the opportunity to take advantage of that?
It's just easy, isn't it? You can make a mistake and get away with it. Much easier.
Well, it's unlike a track like, say, Long Beach, which you definitely wouldn't have the benefit of the runoff.
No, it's not surrounded by concrete walls.
Well, we've got about 12 minutes of qualifying left. It's very early to say yet. Tom Ward on top, Jonas van Werker in second place, and Chris Hansen. His singing career is over, and he joins the second row of the grid in third place there. But none of the big names, if you like, putting in times yet. As Graham Carroll just goes pole. 2:31 is probably about the sort of time we're looking at. Do you think anyone will get to 2:30?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, they may get into a 2:30.9-ish, something like that.
And this man drafting with his teammate still, Marcus Hamilton. He's already won the championship, so the pressure's off for Marcus this time round, but it won't stop him going out there wanting to win this race, will it?
No, I think some of the guys who haven't been in the championship that much this season will want to make a bit of a point, and again, as the reigning champion now, everybody's gunning for him, so he'll have a point to make himself.
Well, he's yet to set a lap time about halfway through qualifying, and the difficulty is the same with Bathurst as some of the other longer tracks in the season, is that you don't get that many opportunities to qualify in a 20-minute session compared to one of the shorter ones. How will that affect these drivers? It's got to be fairly nerve-wracking when you get to the end 5 minutes and you haven't put a good time in.
Yeah, but I mean, again, these guys have been racing this series a lot all year, and they're pretty much used to what should happen and shouldn't happen, so I don't think they'd be pressing the panic button unduly.
Well, we're just on board now with Marcus Hamilton approaching. Oh, he's gone past his teammate there. It looks like he's overshot the corner, missed the apex, and now here's that huge, great, long back straight. A lot of corners on this circuit, but no shortage of straights either. And this is a monster. Good drafting opportunity down here, Matt.
Yeah, it's a huge straight with a lot of drafting. I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys 3-4 wide going down there.
And the Skip Barber still not reaching the rev limiter, even down the end. It's probably not quite the same length as the straight down at Bathurst. Oh, and Tom Ward spins out in front of Hamilton.
The big thing with Bathurst, the Comrade Straight is all downhill, whereas the straight here is actually quite a lot uphill with only a small downhill section towards the end, so it's one of those ones that saps the life out of these little skippy engines, and whereas Bathurst being all downhill is much easier for them to bounce off the limiter.
And these can blow up. We have seen that. The Skip Barber before, excuse me. These engines don't last forever. So is that a risk that people will come down through the gears maybe a little bit too quickly on the approach to one of these hairpins and just blow out that Mazda engine?
Possibly, but I don't know if this is the kind of track where the guys will be slamming through the gearbox the way they would at somewhere like Okayama or Laguna Seca or even Spa, where they use a lot the gearbox to help get the car rotated and turned into the corners. So I don't know that this track is like that. It may be one that they don't stress the engines quite so much on.
Well, it'll certainly be interesting to see. At least Alan Patterson currently in 14th place, about middle of the grid here. It would be a shame to lose a lot of these cars because there aren't that many to go around. Robert Plumley's out there on the track as well as usual, and Dan Kraft, who had a good season in the touring cars, he's out there as well. So a lot of cross-discipline drivers, but I guess that's the point of the iRacing services. You don't have to stick to one thing. Because some people who just drive one thing, but most people will mix it up.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think the very top guys will try and stick to one thing to specialise, but everybody else just has a bit of a dabble in everything. Certainly Plumbers does, doesn't he? He pops up in all sorts of series.
Well, here he is, Robert Plumley for Team Castrol. He's Dan Hunt's replacement driver after Dan Hunt decided to stop racing. I was going to say decided to stop racing, but flounced. Okay, he's now out of the championship, but Robert Plumley races alongside his teammate Steve Hefford, who is not in the session this evening, so he's obviously decided to take his early retirement from this season. I was saying just before you joined us, Matt, that the team championship's still up for grabs, although it's heavily in the favour of Friction Racing, who currently have a 34-point advantage, but not impossible for Racing Game Show to catch up.
Certainly doesn't sound it, nope.
30 points for a win here, so it would need 2 good results from Racing Game Show and 2 bad results. It's only 2 drivers per team in this championship, 2 bad results from Friction Racing. So Carroll, again on pole position there. We've seen Carroll qualify very well, haven't we? And he's been strong, but only at some tracks.
But that's not a surprise. I mean, there's lots of us who are better on one track than we are on others, so...
Savidovic just slips into second place there. About a tenth behind. He's not far off the pace. And then everybody else is a little way back. So Tom Ward, 4 tenths. Simon Povey, 8 tenths. And Rapstin getting towards the 1 second mark. And there's 3 full seconds between the top 10 on the grid, which is quite rare. I suppose it's a longer track, but still, seems like a big gap there.
That's surprising, yeah. That's, even on the big tracks, they're normally closer than that.
Well, Graham Carroll still leads it, and there's 6 or so minutes, so 2 or 3 laps maybe if somebody's already towards the end of their current lap to upset and shift the balance of this qualifying session. This is round 12, so this is the final race of the season. There is an unofficial race, round 13, so if you're new to iRacing and you fancy getting involved in a light-hearted way, then the week 13 race is something to look out for on the UK&I forums. You can find out all about how to sign up there. Everybody from UK&I is welcome. It's still a UK&I only thing, so you need to be in the UK or Ireland to take part in this championship, but it's a good way in.
Wild Stab, is that going to be at Donington by any chance?
I'm not sure when Donington's scheduled for release. I know it's coming for the next season.
Tomorrow morning.
Well, that's a good way, an excellent way in fact, to get the UK people to shell out a further $15 or whatever the track costs, because that's been on people's wish list for a very long time, Matt.
It has. Classic track. Personally, I can't wait to get hold of it. I think in this car especially, going down through Crane curves would be brilliant.
Of course, the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship is loosely based on the British Touring Car Championship, the real-life counterpart. So the more British tracks available, the more authentic the feel will be, and I certainly think that the British drivers, at least, and the Irish drivers, will relish a chance to drive the touring cars around there. So it should be coming with those 2 configurations, I'm guessing, the shorter version and then the Grand Prix version.
You would think so, yeah.
Okay, so we don't know that yet, but whatever the case,
But no, I'm pretty sure it has been confirmed. I'm just lapsed to say it, just in case. That's all.
We wouldn't want to give you the wrong info on BSR TV. Not like we've ever done that before. But it's one that a lot of people have wanted for a very long time. It's been part of UK motor racing for certainly as long as I can remember, and as long as a lot of other people can remember. And it'll be a welcome addition to iRacing. So my worry there is that now that we've got a British track, their next focus will be on somewhere else, which would be a shame.
Next one after that is confirmed already as Monza.
And it is an unusual one, isn't it? Because iRacing doesn't have Monza, and it's in just about every other racing game going.
No, but they will have shortly. And then shortly after Monza, we believe, will be Imola.
And there is talk as well of dropping Monza from some of the major racing as well.
Not going to happen.
And it's been part of Formula 1, at least.
It's not going to happen.
Since I can remember.
Only an idiot who thinks that the final race should be double points would actually have an idea as barking as that, and I suspect that even he is just trying to swindle a bit of extra cash out of him.
Well, moving back to more positive notes, Graham Carroll still tops the qualifying table with 3 minutes to go. Tom Ward and Marcus Hamilton haven't half got close though. 3 and 6 hundredths respectively. Savidovic is currently sitting on second row next to Marcus Hamilton. Lambert in 5th. That would be a great start for Lambert. Povey 6th, Rapston 7th. But really, the top 4 are in a league of their own at the moment.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. I mean, it's a tricky little track, is this?
It is.
There's a lot of sweeping, fast sections that, you know, you have to get the line pretty well right, otherwise you're going to lose a considerable amount of time. And it is a very slippery track surface. It's not that easy to drive.
And there's also a fair few blind corners, like that hairpin at the start, where those people, I say blind corners, those people on one monitor will struggle because they can't necessarily see what's around that tight bend.
Could be, yep.
And in case you're watching and you don't do this triple monitor thing, that's the way that most iRacers would like to have it. A centre monitor with most of the things on, and then 2 monitors, one either side for a peripheral vision. That's what you've got at home, isn't it, Matt?
I have, yes.
A lot of other drivers have that as well.
It's the single best investment I've ever made as somebody who likes sim racing, I've got to be honest. The assistance it gives you, especially for things like side-by-side racing, is just unrivaled.
And does it have any other benefits beyond sim racing, or is that its only function?
You can have 3 different types of site open at the same time in case your wife walks in.
Well, good to know.
I mean, I use mine for all sorts. I don't just use it for sim racing. Mine's flight sims and home office as well, and I have sort of my work on one screen, and I can have email open on the other one, and all sorts. I mean, it's, you know, it's always useful to have more than one screen.
So the message to take away from that is, why have one monitor when you can have 3? We've got about a minute left in this qualifying session. Ash Blakely still struggling, no front wing on that Skip Barber in the classic Williams theme, Williams Renault theme in fact, with the Canon sponsorship, but no front wing. Oh, and it's going to have fewer parts on it now as he sticks it in the barriers. Comes back across the track, and that is going to be qualifying over for Mr. Blakely, I believe, as he pulls that one off the track. Oh, nicely done. Nicely done, off the track in a safe position as well. So Clive Armstrong breaks into the top 10. Plumley breaks into the top 10. He hasn't had many top 10 starts this season, has he?
Plumbers? Nope, not that many, so it's a good result for him. You'll be pleased to know as well, with that being your favourite paint scheme, somebody's just done a version of that for the DW12 IndyCar.
Interesting. So I'm assuming that also exists for the Formula 1, the Williams.
I haven't seen one, but I would guess so.
Interesting. So yeah, a lot of the paints you see on offer this evening are ones that have been created by team members or community members, things like that. And just another feature that makes iRacing stand out, the fact that you can customise your car, any kind of paint job, within reason. I don't think you can go out there with swastikas and things. I think people will complain about that. But not why would you want to.
Pretty sure you can.
It's you could do it technically, but I don't know how long it'd last. Yeah. So
technically, the custom paint schemes are run on a separate website to iRacing, aren't they? It's done through Trading Paints. So
Indeed, yeah.
And loaded custom onto iRacing, so technically they wouldn't control anything that you've got on the car. Not that I'm trying to suggest that anybody should.
Although they do hold the ban hammer, so there is that.
True.
I'm not exactly sure what the rules are on ethics of paints. Let's get back to the qualifying anyway, because Graham Carroll is still out there in pole position. What a great opportunity it would be for a great finish to the season for Graham Carroll. And that's going to hurt the Racing Game Show guys, because they're starting behind. They're starting 4th and 5th, and their main rivals, Friction Racing, are starting 2nd and 3rd, and that means that they're going to have to get past them and hope that that Friction Racing don't take too many points. It's going to be a tough evening for the Racing Game Show guys.
Yeah, but they do have that big straight for drafting if they can stay close enough. The only one of the top guys who's out on track still is George Lambert.
Let's have a quick look at George Lambert's lap. He's actually in the pits, so it's a lap over, I believe.
Slightly delayed then for me, yep.
We're just watching Dan Kraft come round to finish off his lap. Can he get any better than his 234.1? He would need about 233 dead to break into the top 10. Dan Kraft round the final corner. The final qualifier. 235.5, so not good enough for Dan Kraft. Graham Carroll will lead the field away in this final race from
Jamie Bird's still going as well. Jamie Bird's still going. P19 at the moment.
Oh, beg his pardon, he is still going. He escaped the cameras for a moment there, but Jamie
God
Bird...
knows how with that colour on his car.
Jamie Bird just rounding the final corner now. 2:25 on the clock. Is in 19th at the moment for Club 100 Semi-Pros. It's going to be hard push to beat that time now. Oh, and he does! So does that move him up to 15th? Good job for Jamie Bird. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he proved me wrong. So, about 30 minutes of racing. Yeah, we put the curse on him now. He's going to crash at the first corner. You watch. Not that I'm wishing that. It's just a fact. It's just a commentator's curse fact.
Simon Hulbert then in 9th. That's a bit rubbish by his standards, isn't it?
You would have expected him to be higher, especially given the position of his SS Racing teammate, but you never know. Everybody, like we said earlier, everybody has their favourite tracks, and this might not be one of his. Who knows? That is the venue, Circuit of the Americas, that huge, twisty behemoth of a track. We'll be going down to the grid in just a moment. These guys tend to take their time as well, don't they, on the grid? That's Tim Adcock getting ready to go.
They do. I don't know if it's them trying to psych each other out or what, but they do tend to take a long time to grid.
Hulbert then starts from P9. And Povey, his teammate, not too far ahead, 7. So at least they're in a prime position for drafting one another right from the off. No Graham Carroll, he doesn't join the front of the grid just yet. Hamilton on the second row. He'll be satisfied with that, won't he? Doesn't need to be on the front row.
It's cracking. Oh, you'd be happy enough for that.
And there's our...
He sits behind his teammate. Nice bit of draftage off going. That should keep him going.
And there's our 24 car grid just forming up. We've got about 5 cars to grid up. Then we'll have some lights. Graham Carroll will lead the field away with Tom Ward 2nd. Marcus Hamilton in 3rd. And then the Wojtek's 4th and 5th, the Racing Game Show. What can they do from here? Can they get past their Can they get past their Friction Racing teammate? It's like the opposite team, isn't it? Friction versus No Grip. Can they get past those guys and outscore them enough? They need 34 points on Friction Racing. Otherwise, the team championship will go to Friction Racing. And the driver championship already been won by Marcus Hamilton last time out. So we're going to have... it's going to be a nice, enjoyable drive for him no matter what happens, I think. We've got some lights here. We're ready to go racing. Circuit of the Americas. This is round 12, the final round of the season. It's underway. Graham Carroll will lead them away. He does exactly that as the 24 cars head down to turn 1. And now Tom Ward already deciding that he wants to get that inside line nice and early. Hamilton looks like he's warding off the other cars there. They're going to try and go down the inside of him into turn 1. Oh, it's a huge wall of Friction Racing though. No way through there. Graham Carroll keeps it in number 1 all the way through turn 1. Everybody through there okay actually. And the cars stream down through the S's.
That's that's quite some achievement at that corner as well, because it's a horrible little blind apex thing. It's really difficult to see.
Not the best first corner, at least, especially considering there's a long run down to there from the up the hill from the start finish line. Graham Carroll leads this race. We've got Tom Ward in second place, Hamilton third. Pretty much as they were on the grid so far, I think. Right down to number 10. Number 10 right now is Robert Plumley.
Single file so far. It's, not really many overtakes up until this sort of point. It's round by here and down this long straight is where you get the first real chance at making an overtake.
Plumley needs a good exit here in P10 if he's going to get the draft from Simon Hulbert and slip past into 9th place. Hulbert, of course, having the benefit of the draft himself, but what's going on up front as Carroll looks to be coming under pressure from Tom Ward now. Carroll will hold him off down into this next hairpin for the first time, unless Tom Ward decides to brake exceptionally late. Take a little peek down the... No, he's kept that one in there. Savinovic fourth. He's chasing his main rival of the season, Marcus Hamilton. And I was talking to Wojtek earlier as well about next season, and he hasn't decided whether to run the Skippy again or not, but if he does, it will be another interesting season, I'm sure.
There's a few of the guys, aren't there, who have sort of indicated that they may take a season off for the next season.
Savinovic keeping it much tighter around there and goes down the inside of Hamilton. There's a lot of lines available in this triple apex right-hander. Hamilton obviously not choosing the most optimum one as he drops down to 4th. I think a lot of these guys starting to branch out as well. They get into the club through in the iRacing through the Skip Barber, because it's one of the most well-known, and then just trying other things. So
yeah, and it's, you know, iRacing itself has branched out, and there's a lot of other series running now as well, and a lot of other cars that are quite good to drive, and the more choice there is, the more people tend to filter off into other things.
Now, has Ashley Blakely got a front wing on your screen?
I shall have a look.
He's still not got a front wing.
No.
Like, so he hasn't lost it already. It's like they must have a whole rack of them in the pit lane.
I'm not sure. We do get graphical glitches like that sometimes, don't we?
He just needs some stronger glue, I think.
Are we still talking about racing here, or are we into recreation?
Not that I'm suggesting you'd ever do that with glue, but he is missing his front wing as far as we can tell.
Airfix models, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, why not? Wonder if Airfix do a Skip Barber Formula 2000.
They do everything else, don't they? Or they used to.
Maybe one of the viewers on YouTube can let us know. Anyway,
cool, wouldn't it? Get yourself an Airfix Skip Barber and do it in the paint scheme of one of these guys.
Oh, Hulbert down the inside, but he won't hold on to it. Sacrificed too much on the corner exit, and Clive Armstrong is back through. It's, if anyone wants to send us one in the commentary team, would build it for us, because I'm not sitting there gluing it. Are you going to sit there and glue it together?
Yeah, you pagan. What's half the point?
All right, well, send it to Matt, and he'll make it up.
I'll build it for you,
and we'll post some pictures. Simon Hulbert with another attempt on Clive Armstrong, gets him this time. He will hold that position this time, so Hulbert up to 8th.
Marcus Hamilton just having a little bit of contact with the back of Graham Carroll there at the front.
Oh, and Savinovic is through into the lead, so Carroll's lost the lead there.
Yeah, just down that long straight, they're all having a little bit of a scrap and sort of tangling with each other, but then I think once they're done with that, they have to go back to line astern again.
Around a very tight, twisty bend as well. So Savinovic leads, Graham Carroll is in second place. He just doesn't seem to have the race pace, does he? He's a very, very quick qualifier. But having said that, he's only down to second.
I'm going to say, he's not entirely out of it yet, Jack. Which will give him a little bit of a break on that one. It's another one of those circuits, isn't it? Where it's so difficult to run side by side with anybody and run different lines that it ends up being follow my leader until you get to the big long straight, and then everybody goes nuts. That's Edgar and Carroll's having a look at Ward here, going into turn 1.
Well, Carroll's going to have to make that one work round the outside, but it's not going to do that, well, he's not going to be able to do it around the outside. No, he's going to have to tuck back in and sacrifices a little bit of speed there as well, just to stay behind Savidovic. Surely not going to try and make it through too wide through the twisties.
No, that just wouldn't work through you, would it?
It kills so much speed, and even if you stayed out of your opponent's gearbox, it would allow the two friction racing guys behind to get a major advantage. Rapshin just dropping back a little bit. We should find out if he has a beard or not. Well, I'm curious as to why he's running the Bic Razor logo on his car there. Maybe he's just...
He wouldn't be sponsored by a razor company if he did have a beard, would you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe he's proud of his clean-shaven nature or something. I don't know. It seems like an odd sponsorship choice anyway. Oh, Povey, but just behind, and George Lambert. Povey dips down the inside. Same move Hulbert pulled last lap. And Lambert has no response to that, Matt.
No, good move, nice clean move. And of course he can get away with that because they'll pick up the toe of the car in front of him immediately, so...
Although Lambert is now right on Simon Povey's case. Here he comes in the draft. Povey defending the inside line. It's a long old straight. Lambert's going to take the maximum amount of track here to try and swing around the outside.
Graham Carroll trying to go around the outside with Savidovic at the front as well. I don't think that'll work. You've seen before with Big Wodge, he's the past master of making that Skip Barber extremely wide.
Well, there was that time in Formula 1 where there was a car that was too wide, wasn't there? Back in the James Hunt days.
There was. Well, at least it was
alleged to be too wide.
Too wide. Before it was then overturned later in the season, wasn't it?
The claims by Ferrari at the time. But
who were not in any way, shape or form motivated by anything.
No, not like they're competitive or anything like that. But
no.
Impossible to do in iRacing. There's no car width option that I know of. It's just that he manages to keep people behind him pretty well. Mainly from being quite fast, but also being quite an intelligent driver.
He's a very good defensive driver. He just knows, I mean, like there, he just puts the car in a position to... Oh, and Carroll sold him the dummy perfectly there. Somebody was watching Daniel Ricciardo on the weekend, wasn't they?
Great move by Graham Carroll. Savidovic thought he'd done enough there. And Graham Carroll, after my comments earlier, has proven me completely wrong and strikes back, taking the lead back from Savidovic in dramatic fashion. It's also put Savidovic into the clutches of the friction racing guys behind him. Ward and Hamilton are right at his door, and they've come knocking.
Yeah, Rapstin has clean shaven and all has edged himself back up to the back of this group as well.
And that was all
Must
caused...
be more aerodynamic.
Well, the beard hair not slowing him down.
Yeah.
I think he shaves his car before each race as well. Probably not. Anyway,
No.
But that was all caused by Graham Carroll's move down the inside, which just slowed Savidovic and Carroll down enough. Savidovic down the inside. It's the same move once again. Carroll's going to get a better exit though, and that's the issue, isn't it? Savidovic is having to shed a lot of speed, and he's going to try and get past and use his car as a block to stop Carroll from getting back round, but there's so much straight there. Now Tom Ward's right in the middle of this. Carroll's going defensive.
3 wide. Are they going 3 wide? No.
Well, Carroll's gone very, very defensive already. Savidovic is going to try and go around the outside here. It's going to be a tricky one to pull off. Savidovic manages to keep all 4 wheels on the track, which is absolutely brilliant.
I think he's got the move done there, I think.
And that was always the danger, if he managed to get around the outside. And there's 3 cars going into one corner. Someone's going to have to yield, and I think it's going to be Tom Ward as he takes a much wider line here. He's got his teammate behind him for backup. Savidovic has the lead back once again, and these guys are showing no lack of motivation, even though it's the end of the season, which is great to see. Graham Carroll.
The pressure's off, isn't it? I mean, you can just... It is effectively a race to nothing, so you can just kind of throw caution to the wind and really go for it. And now, is that Povey or Hulbert that's just sneaking up onto the back of this group as well?
Simon Povey on the back of Wojtek Rabstin there. He's currently 0.7 behind, and Rabstin's actually fallen off the back a little bit of the group ahead. He was right back in there at the start of this 4th lap, but he's dropped off again. Perhaps he just doesn't have the pace.
Possibly. Quick shout out for Plumbers in P10 as well. He's clinging onto the back just about Clive Armstrong.
Oh, we lost Jamie
doing
Bird.
doing his absolute best.
Jamie Bird is around. Let's see if we can find out what happened. We'll come back to Plumley in just a moment. So he's challenging for position here with Ash Blakely.
I don't know if you've heard.
What about the word?
Yeah, the bird is the word.
I ruined that one a bit. Sorry.
You have. It's about the bird. Honestly, because you need a season off. I think you did.
So as Bird sticks it down the inside, Blakely doesn't give him enough room. Perhaps felt like his line was taken unfairly.
On a flap.
He's got a new front wing though, so maybe that was a graphical error. And a new front wing on Blakely's car, but he's doing his best to rip it off once again. And the contact costs Jamie Bird more than it cost Ash Blakely. Blakely is currently running 16th, but I think that's a visit to the pits for Jamie Bird. Yeah, he's down on pit road. Oh, that car is crabbing pretty bad. So Plumley is in 10th place at the moment, holding his grid position. He's only half a second, sorry, 3.5 seconds behind Clive Armstrong just up in front, and James Child is a full 8 seconds behind. So it's almost like we've got two races going on, the front pack and the rear pack.
Yeah, definitely. I think these front guys have dropped them a bit, haven't they? And Graham Carroll going for the lead again.
Carroll and Savinovic side by side.
Sure, Savinovic will try and hang it round the outside.
Oh!
It's contact in the back.
Rapstin's gone into the back of... Oh, I don't know who that was. Was that Hamilton?
And he's just cut straight back across the front of George Lambert, getting back onto the track as well.
Well, there's definitely no front on that car now, and he's going to be suffering. That's Clive Armstrong going through, and well, let's go back and have another look at that one on the replay. Wojtek Rapstin gets it all wrong on the brakes.
Yeah, it's Marcus Hamilton he's hit the back of.
Well, do you know what? I think he could have done more to get out of the way, and he just comes straight back across the track as well, which is not ideal. But you know, once you realise, he must have realised quite early he was on the brakes too late there. He had that whole runoff area to use, you know, and you know, why use someone else's car when you got the runoff area?
But yeah, well, because the runoff area means going wide.
Well, Hamilton's got a bent wing as a result, but it looks like there's no suspension damage on that friction racing machine. It seems to be still running quite smoothly.
Yep, we'll be interesting to see if he hangs on. Oh, Godfrey tries to sell Savinovic the dummy again there, and that's not worked this time at all.
So exciting, you got his name wrong.
His nose off. Yeah, Big Watch gets the
Carroll.
The rhino. Sorry, I was just going to say, Big Watch got the rhinoplasty out there and just chopped his nose clean off.
Well, he tried it once and he can't expect to do the same thing again, and thinks Savinovic isn't going to notice. Savinovic getting very loose through the twisty bit, and these are the official corner names, by the way. This one's called the twisty bit. And Graham Carroll...
I bet it isn't.
I bet it isn't as well. Graham Carroll has got to come up with a different strategy.
It's an American circuit, isn't it? So the tracks, the corners are going to have such amazing names as Turn 3, Turn 4, Turn 8.
Through Turn 9 right now, on the way down to Turn 10.
Yep, there we go.
And then Turn 11. There are quite a few corners on this track. But we've seen, this is a popular overtaking place, but Carroll sticks it round the outside. He does have the opportunity to go down the inside of Savinovic there.
I think he's just giving him plenty of room, isn't he? Set him up to re-overtake him on the straight. Good old America. Less culture than a Waitrose yogurt.
Well, let's just look at the closing speed of Graham Carroll, and he went round the outside, which is an interesting choice. He obviously feels like he's got the speed to clear him on the outside.
He's been trying the inside for the last few laps, hasn't he? It hasn't worked because Savinovic just seems to hang on to the outside line and go round the outside of him. But whoa!
Oh, he's gone a little bit too wide there.
Yeah, Graham's got that a little bit wrong, and that's opening the door for Marcus Hamilton.
Oh, 3 wide. Hamilton on the right. Graham Carroll just about hanging on to second place, but this is a fierce battle for the lead in round 12. Hamilton's got to keep this one under control. He's got some damage. It's probably just aero damage, so it's quite minor. Goes way wide there, trying to avoid Graham Carroll in front of him. Again, he has his teammate behind him, so he doesn't have to worry too much about rash moves.
Utilising the complete lack of gravel trap.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. And now he's going to work once again on closing up on the back of Graham Carroll. So Carroll needs that lead to get that buffer between him and Marcus Hamilton, because he doesn't want to be in between those two friction racing guys.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place somewhat literally, though, isn't he? I mean,
Hamilton! Oh, big slide, sorry.
Did he contact the back of Graham Carroll there?
I don't think he did. We can go back and have another look on the replay there, but We'll have a look at that one from the overhead.
wing.
Well, here it is on the chopper. I think he did. I think you're right.
Yeah, because it just looked like Graham Carroll's back end stepped out as well, which is not a mistake I would have expected from him. Simon Povey under all sorts of pressure from Marcus Hamilton now.
Well, Hamilton's dropped that place as a result of that slide. And he'll be wanting to get that one back. And he's lucky to hold on to his front wing, I think, Hamilton. He's got a lot of damage on that car. But again, he's won the championship. He doesn't have to worry too much. He doesn't want to retire, though, because it's going to give a lot of points away to Racing Game Show. And that team championship's still undecided. I'm sure Friction Racing would like to take that, never having won that before.
Yep, they've done the best job through the season in terms of consistency, haven't they? You've got to say that so far. So
round the outside again, Graham Carroll
going to be the one who's going to be the decider in this, because he's the one who's got absolutely nothing to lose. He doesn't
that's
care.
very true.
I think it's his first run at the front for a long time. I think he doesn't give a shit. He just wants to win it. I mean, he doesn't care.
Well, he's currently second, having qualified pole. Doing enough at the moment for me, Graham Carroll. Showing some mature driving there. He's gone down the inside this time. Just that little shimmy to the outside to give Savidovic the impression he's going the other way. Forcing Savidovic out wide. He's got to clear this corner and get to the next one.
That's the better way to do it. A couple of times before, he's just left the door open on the outside. That time, made sure he went in deep enough that Savidovic knew he had to back out of it. You know, Big Watch is one of these guys that if you're going to race with him, you have to be prepared to get your elbows out, because he's quite happy to, so you have to give him a bit of his own treatment.
Well, here it is again. Carroll on the left here, on the overhead. And he just does enough. Absolutely straight up does enough to get past, so good
Simon
job.
Povey's looped it as well.
Well, let's see if we can go over to Povey. He is now in the pits, so let's find out what happened to Simon Povey.
Interesting point there. I think I spotted a little bit of damage on Simon Povey's rear wing before he had that incident. I wonder, did Marcus Hamilton clip the back of him?
Well, let's go back even further on the replay and have another look at that. Well, here it is, and you're right. You are right. A little nudge there, and look at just look at the effect that has on Povey's car. I mean, he just comes out of that corner completely straight, and then it's suspension damage, isn't it? Rear suspension damage there. The wheels are out of alignment. He just can't keep it in a straight line. So Hamilton is causing more damage, and that's really the thing he wants to avoid, isn't it? He's won the championship. He doesn't want to ruin everybody else's race here.
He's taking a bit of his namesake there, isn't he? He's just misreading what the guy in front of him is doing and making a small mistake that involves clipping him in the rear wing.
And it's always frustrating for a racing driver. He knows he's lost places through mistakes. It's easy to make more mistakes in an attempt to rectify it, isn't it?
Yeah. Just Graham Carroll's got a little bit of front end damage as well, so did he by any chance nick the back of Wodge at some point there? Well, yeah. We were busy dissecting the Simon Povey disappearing act.
Well, it's quite possible, isn't it? Carroll leads this race. Savidovic is too far back to make that move, surely. I think he realised that a little bit late. Oh, Carroll making a big correction there mid-corner to avoid Savidovic. I think he had that one covered just about. Just good mature racing from these guys.
Yeah, and Wodge instantly saying sorry on that one as well. Quick shout to Plumbers hanging up there in 8th.
Robert Plumley, as a result of the loss of Simon Povey,
he's getting a bit cocky, isn't he? He ran the World Cup on the weekend, managed to win his split, which nobody expected him to do, least of all himself. And then all of a sudden he's found a bit of form from that.
Oh, all kinds of action up front there. Well, Tom Ward had the lead for a moment, but it was almost 3 wide at the end of the main straight. And who's going to get... I don't even know who's in the lead at the moment. There's just so many cars all over the place. Carroll has the inside line.
I don't know where to look, do you? I think what happened there, Tom Ward went right down the inside of the straight and literally parked it on the apex. And Carroll and Savidovic just literally took the wide angle and swamped him on the apex of the corner.
Well, Carroll's going to have the longer route round, but he's going to be able to hold the inside line for the next corner. And he maintains that lead. So Tom Ward is a constant threat to both of these guys. It's mainly been focused on the two at the front, Carroll and Savidovic. This is a fantastic battle, and if there's anything that this series is not short of, it's fantastic battles.
I was going to say, Marcus Hamilton's not quite done with this either yet. He's a constant threat to absolutely everybody on the track at the moment today, so he's back trying to overtake his teammate for third position again.
Oh, great shot there with the two Friction Racing guys going through together. I think Tom Ward is probably going to let him through here, as Hamilton's willing to have a go.
Great move from Savidovic doing the old switchback.
Yeah, great overtake, as I was focused on the Friction Racing guys. Just saw that out the corner of my eye there. Carroll back down to second, Hamilton up to third now, and I think Tom Ward would have just said, look, you have a go, I can't get past these guys, you try it.
Not sure he'd be doing that. I suspect he'd be swearing at him a little bit in TeamSpeak, because they're not particularly racing like two guys who were trying to finish the race here, but
well, the top four now separated by 2.5 seconds from the rest of the pack. Simon Hulbert is there in 5th place, and Rapston's all the way down to 9th.
Hulbert Lambert Armstrong is sounds like a lawyer's company, doesn't it? Is catching up to these front four where they're swapping positions so much and slowing each other up.
Well, Hulbert's currently the lead in 5th place out of this group, but the guys up front, honestly, they're so close. Another chance to draft, and we're nearly out of laps here. Lap 9 out of 12, so only 3 more times round after this, and then it'll be decided. But I think Rapston has put himself in a position now where Friction Racing will have won this team championship, assuming they both finish in the positions they do.
You know what they say about assumption?
Yes.
Mother of all fudge ups.
Yeah, there is a lot of that is an element, no doubt. But Hamilton has been driving like he doesn't want to finish the race so far. So has Rapston. That mistake cost them both pretty badly. Rapston more so. Any more damage on that car from Hamilton, and I don't think he'll finish the race in any kind of scoring position. But the same is true of Rapston probably, because the nose on that car, have they replaced it in the pits? Or has it just completely come off? Well, it's pretty dented on the broadcast at least. It's very second-hand, shall we say?
Yeah, they're not massively aero-dependent, these cars, though, are they? So it shouldn't. It'll hold him up a little bit, but not too much.
No, and I don't recall this ever used to happen with the Skip Barber, but it seems like the latest season, the nose cone, they've weakened the nose cone, and well, here comes Carroll again. Just looking for that dummy once again, but Savidovic is wise to it.
You have to say that if it was Formula 1 steward, Savidovic would get a black flag, wouldn't you, for making more than one movement to defend?
Well, did he make more than one movement, though? So Savidovic is down the middle of the track there and just moves to the inside to cover it, which he's entitled to do, that one move.
Doesn't he have another stab at it?
It's not that heavily stewarded, this, so it's not.
No, that's what really I'm saying. Not like we care. It's good for the racing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But there's always questions. There's always been questions since the start of these kind of regulations about he said, she said, why can't I do this and that?
Hey, do you know what? I think Formula 1's gone too far recently as well. I think they're getting involved in a lot of stuff they shouldn't. It's nice to see them this season actually trying to take a step back a little bit. It's racing. It's racing. They're supposed to be wheel to wheel, and occasionally they'll touch. Get over it. Causing a collision.
Well, back to the Skip Barber anyway. Savidovic has the lead once again from Graham Carroll, who I had completely written off after losing that lead early on, but he has done very well to stay where he is, second place, and even challenge for the lead. He goes down the inside once again. He's overtaken around the outside and it's failed on him. He's done this down the inside once already. Oh, and he's all the way through.
He's got to make sure he goes deep, hasn't he?
He's got to cover that comeback from Savidovic around the outside, and he's done enough there. Savidovic knows it as well. Well, Hamilton not having much more luck than his teammate Tom Ward in third place. Oh, Ward very, very slidey with the back of that car. I thought he'd gone round there, but he manages to keep that one together.
I just can't do that when I'm driving this thing. If I try that, I'd just crash.
Yeah, there's a very, very delicate amount of counter steer, and maybe a little bit of two-footed stomping going on, but Tom Ward keeping that one under control. And these guys, I mean, we hadn't heard of these guys when we started doing these broadcasts Tom Ward, Marcus Hamilton. These guys have come in, made a real name for themselves, and shown just what they can do. And if they do take the championship, as it looks like they're likely to do, no curse intended, anyway, then they will have been thoroughly deserving.
No, I don't think the commentator's curse works on everybody, does it? We're there's only one person it seems to work on.
Oh, poor old Dave Grunhill.
Poor good old Dave. You shall not be named.
A little dive down the inside from Tom Ward to take back that third position.
And a little wobble on exit from Graham Carroll there as well.
So Savidovic is right on his case straight away, as we've got 2 laps left here. So this lap and the one after is all we've got, and would you want to be in second position coming down that main straight for the last time? Because none of these drivers have been able to establish enough of a lead to eliminate the draft.
I'm not sure. There is, I can see what you're saying in that the guy in second will always pick up the extra toe, but equally the guy in second is just as likely to get dive bombed by the guy in third, as you can see Tom Ward trying to line Savidovic up here. I think I would rather be Graham Carroll, I gotta be honest. Control his own destiny.
Savidovic has no attempt on Graham Carroll, but he will do on the straight, so it's line astern as we head down the main straight once again. Let's just go over for a moment. Murray Coots in his first Skip Barber race is in 16th place, so doing pretty well there. 16th place. We've still got 19 cars running in this race, and he's a full 11 seconds behind Dan Craft up in front, but just to finish one of these races in a non-last position is an achievement in itself.
Yep, it is.
And Graham Carroll holds on to that lead there, but Savidovic is behind him. This is my concern for Graham Carroll, is that Savidovic has the opportunity to strike, whereas Graham Carroll will not if the positions stay the same. Savidovic has got a very level head when it comes to racing tactics, so he'll know what opportunities he has on that final lap.
Yeah, he possibly fancies himself a little bit as Vlad the Impaler, doesn't he? Sitting there and just waiting for his opportunity to ram the spike where it's going to hurt most. Yeah, I don't know. I still think I'd rather be Graham Carroll, but with the two behind Marcus Hamilton and Paul Bird have just dropped off a little bit, and I think that will give Wodge free rein to attack. Tom Ward, even Paul Bird. What am I on about?
Well, I think
last race of the season we completely lost the plot.
I think Paul Bird's even racing. Jamie Bird is. He's back out on the track. He's in 18th right now, and
here we go.
Well, everybody else is really spread out on the track, aren't they? Hulbert on Lambert here. Those are the only other 2 cars that are relatively close to each other. Lambert will hold on to that one. As we join the final lap, we're back at the front here. Graham Carroll, what a win this would be.
Survived turn 1, survived the first point at which they can all overtake him, so now it's onwards to the big straight.
Well, he is holding on. I wouldn't say he's holding on by a small margin. I mean, he seems to be fairly comfortable, but you can't underestimate that draft. It's this next corner that we're approaching now that leads onto the we're approaching now, I should say, in a few seconds, but but it leads onto the main straight. Savidovic has to get close enough to get a good draft here.
Now, will Graham do the sensible thing, or will he take the wide line and try and set the corner up? Yes, he does. I was wondering whether he'd try and entice Savidovic to let him go by and then retake him down the straight, but no, right.
Well, Graham Carroll using basically the car as a shield to stop Savidovic and dictate the line that he has available to him.
Hug that white line.
Carroll right down the inside. Now he can't move across again, but Savidovic has already picked his line. He's going to have to go around the outside. Can Savidovic do it? This is his last chance to take the victory. He's not able. He is. Graham Carroll's got it wrong. Oh no! Here comes Tom Ward as well.
Back as well. Just encouraged him to go in a little bit too deep, didn't he?
A tiny mistake from Graham Carroll, and I think that sealed the deal. I think the wealth of experience that Savidovic has had has just overcome Graham Carroll there, but he manages to hold on to second nonetheless. Tom Ward is right behind, so one more mistake from Carroll, and that will be second place out of the window. But Savidovic should have this now. Carroll.
Oh, I don't know. Carroll's going back for the inside. That would be brave.
Well, 2 corners to go. Graham Carroll,
He's
can
going
he
to
do
throw
it?
it at him on this corner, isn't he? He's going to throw it at him.
He just can't pull that one off. There was no chance. He was way too far back. And now he's under threat from Tom Ward in the final corner. Tom Ward sticks it down the inside. Almost makes contact with both cars. Tom Ward, what a forceful way to take that corner.
I would say that's a little bit naughty. I don't know what the stewards will say, but personally I would say that's a little bit naughty. If you have to do a wheel bang to get past, then I think people would say that's possibly a little bit off.
Well, here it is on the replay. That move from Tom Ward right at the end of the race. He is clear of Graham Carroll as he enters the corner. I don't think Carroll anticipated that move at all, because he was already turning in, and they did make contact wheel to wheel, fortunately, and no harm done to the cars, but a bit of a dent in Graham Carroll's pride. That's the lowest position he was the entire race, and he was only there for 1 corner.
Yeah, Tom Ward is as said, he outbraked himself a little bit into the last corner, but I'm inclined to say that was a little bit too desperate.
Well, be that as it may, Tom Ward does take 2nd position in the end, and they've done enough. So team championship goes to Friction Racing. Well done to the Friction Racing guys.
Some of these ways, it's a shame it's sim racing, isn't it? Because you've got a sneaky suspicion he'd be stomping down the garage just to give him a slap after that, wouldn't it?
Well, the first person element of
iRacing,
that would be a good feature to add to iRacing, I think. A bit of a beat 'em up side game.
Yeah.
For when people get annoyed with each other. That would be good. I think a bit of stress relief. Yeah. Savinovic wins another race after 12 laps at Circuit of the Americas. I don't know why it says unknown track in the corner. It's blatantly Circuit of the Americas. But Tom Ward takes 2nd place, a little bit controversially towards the end of the season. Graham Carroll won't be disappointed with his 3rd place and podium finish, though.
No, and it's, no harm, no foul. The guys are having a good laugh about it in chat afterwards, so...
Plumley with an 8th place result. Great result for him. Rapstin relegated to 9th after colliding with the back of Marcus Hamilton, doing a lot of damage to that car. Another victim was Simon Povey, who got taken out by Marcus Hamilton, and damaged the rear of a car, which resulted in a pit stop. And Murray Coots, there you go, 17th. It's a good finish for him.
Skills.
Jonas van Verwerke missing out on the top 10 by just 1 position. I'm not saying that again, you say it.
Not a chance. I just wanted to see how many times I could get you to say it.
You said
3 last week, wasn't it?
That's the final time I'm going to be saying Jonas van Verwerke for the rest of... Oh, just done it again. Never mind.
Lured you in like a noob.
That wraps up another season on BSR TV of the iRacing Skip Barber Championship. Hope you've enjoyed watching that one as much as we have watching it and covering it for you guys at home. Questions, comments, that kind of thing, welcome in the YouTube. Steve Richardson saying nice one, Wodge, right at the end there. So another season down. Marcus Hamilton takes this one, and the next season will be along shortly in the next 2 weeks. Don't forget you can watch the rest of the season, which has already passed, here on the YouTube channel. Just go have a look from the Skip Barber playlist and all the videos will be ready for you in there. And from me and Matt, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.